In this country, we have a law, the Smith-Mundt Act, against propagandizing our own population. It goes back to the Nazis in World War II, and we saw the dangers of that.
But the idea first was they looked at chemical means, telepathine, LSD, all of the psychoactive drugs to see what would happen. They also started to look at electromagnetic means, even as early as that, to manipulate behavior. Eventually, it came out. The President's Commission on the CIA activities within the United States that eventually showed that the CIA had been involved, and the FBI involved, and other agencies involved in mind control techniques.
But why?
Because people who have no hopes are easy to control. And whoever has the control has the power.
The more power he attains, the more obvious his zealotry, and the more aggressive his supporters become. Eventually, his party launches a special project.
But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can, we are not powerless.
Democrats passed the Protect Our Kids Act earlier this year.
We don't care, people die! It's a lie! We don't care, people die! We don't care, people die! Pro-life is a lie! We don't care, people die!
Would influence human behavior at a distance. Whether you use TV, radio, electrical grids, the internet, all of these things can be effectively used and have been demonstrated.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to
danger to our democracy.
The war is really being waged at home, the war on truth.
In today's day and age, as we know, information is global and instantaneous, so the ability to keep information out of American hands is extremely difficult.
These technologies that we're talking about today, because the American public wouldn't accept them, because the American public would see them as a violation, the only way they could be introduced is an environment of fear. And what environment do we have today?
They're just chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's utterly bizarre.
Panic. The lack of clear information, it is just an absolute mess.
And I told Barack, if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
It becomes real then. That's why, by the way, it happens to be in Asia for me right now, but that's why we have a female vice president of the United States of America.
If this isn't failure, what does failure look like exactly?
We're going to have some presidents pretty soon.
And on television doesn't reflect the reality. It undermines any kind of growth of democracy, because then they have no confidence, no trust of their media.
We established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
This is extremely dangerous
to our democracy. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
And this, what they could be doing, are declaring their deep hatred and disdain for the American voter. This lawless partisan impeachment is a political suicide march for the Democrat Party.
Keep marching. It's important. look, this has to become an election issue. The way people listen, senators, congressmen, is when people say, this is going to affect my vote.
You know, this is an Occam issue, Occam's razor. The simplistic stuff works.